Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's exactly 6 p.m. in Cairo. Time to look up at the news bulletin from Channel 2. I'm Hanan Al-Khouli, and we start right away with the headlines. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi casts his ballot in the Senate elections. Egyptians nationwide vote on first day of Senate elections. And 34 Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire in Gaza, including 17 aid seekers. Welcome back to the news in full. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Monday voted on the first day of the Senate elections 2025. President al-Sisi cast his ballot at El Shahid Mustafa Yusri Omara School in Heliopolis, Cairo. Mustafa Madbouli cast his ballot in the Senate elections 2025 at a polling station in the Giza Governorate, and Dr. Madbouli urged eligible voters to participate in the vote as it's a national duty and a constitutional right for every Egyptian. The Prime Minister described voting as a vital, proactive contribution to the future of our great nation. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor Hanafi El-Gibali, on Monday stressed the importance of participating of the Egyptian people in Senate elections, saying that their right to express their opinions is for compromise. And Speaker Gibali said that wide participation by citizens proves the true awareness and full support of the Egyptians to their state and its institutions. The remarks came as he cast his ballot at a polling station in Nozha district in Cairo this morning. Councillor Gibali praised the performance of the National Election Authority in the administration of the vote and its efforts to make the process feasible and flexible. Speaker of the Senate, Councillor Abdel Wahab Abdel Razik, also cast his vote in Senate elections 2025. He urged voters to actively participate in the important national vote access and process, and that citizens' awareness should be reflected into a contribution in state efforts to bypass the current delicate juncture and to lead the country into political and economic stability. Pope Tawadros II Alexandrian, he cast his vote also in the Senate elections on Monday after ballot in a school in Cairo. The head of the Senate's marked cathedral called on Egyptians to participate in the vote and saying that their contribution will enhance Egypt's dignified their image in the world. Pope Tawadros II described the legislative councils in a country as main contributors in building nations, giving the fact that they are platforms for hearing people's voice and for solving their problems. Head of National Media Authority Ahmed Al-Mislimani casted his ballot at a polling station at Faculty of Fine Art in Zamalek on the first day of Senate voting. After voting, Mislimani said that Egypt is facing unprecedented geopolitical challenges with unknown future of the region, stressing that the country needed national unity now more than any time before. And Egyptians nationwide are voting in the Senate elections 2025 on Monday, on the first day of the two-day process. 69 million voters are eligible to participate in choosing senators for the upcoming Senate election 2025.
Egyptians nationwide are voting in the Senate elections 2025 starting Monday, the first of the two-day process. Voting in different governors began at 9 a.m. and continues till 10 p.m. under the supervision of judicial authorities and amid follow-up by civil society organizations as well as local and international media outlets. 69 million voters are eligible to participate in choosing senators for the upcoming council for the next 5 years. The two-day vote will elect 200 of the 300 seats in the upper chamber of parliament, with the remaining third appointed directly by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Amongst the elected seats, 100 are reserved for individual candidates, whilst the other 100 are decided in a closed list vote, in which the winning political parties choose the lawmakers who fill the seats. More than 400 candidates are competing for the 100 seats reserved for individuals. Special procedures have been taken to facilitate balloting for the elderly and people with special needs. The Senate 2025 elections inside Egypt continues for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, the 4th and 5th of August. Senior official at the Ministry of Interior confirmed that the Interior Ministry has taken all the necessary procedures needed to facilitate and secure the voting process outside polling stations all over the country. Senior official confirmed that Ministry's top security chiefs and all security directorates are deployed on the field. Meanwhile, Egyptians abroad voted earlier in the Senate elections on Friday and Saturday, the 1st and 2nd of August. Results from the first round of the Senate vote are expected on August 12th, with the second round scheduled for later in the month. The final results are to be announced on September the 4th.
Still ahead on Channel 2 and with the news bulletin, and now was also with the follow-up of the Senate election. As the National Election Authority said, it's monitoring voting across the nation in the Senate election 2025. At two press conferences held on the first day of voting, Executive Director of the National Election Authority, Councillor Ahmed Al-Bindari, said that the vast majority of polling stations opened its gates on the due date and due time in different governorates. Councillor Ahmed Al-Bindari said that the central operation at theater of the National Election Authority recorded few delay in opening polling stations in a limited number out of the 8,825 polling stations across the Republic. The press conference headed by the Executive Director of the National Election Authority was joined by heads of the authority's follow-up committees at 27 courts in different governorates via video conference. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Migration Badr Abdelati on Monday asserted the importance of Egypt to lend the upgrading its bilateral relations with Uganda. The remark was made as the top diplomat held a meeting with Uganda's State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Henry Oklomo Oriam, as part of a visit to Kampala. The meeting was also attended by Irrigation Minister Hani Suwailam, and the foreign of the irrigation ministers are participating in the second round of 2+2 talks that gathers them with their Ugandan counterparts. The talks are held according to outcomes of the first round of the 2+2 talks hosted by Egypt in December 2004. The meeting discussed boosting bilateral relations and enhancing mutual coordination and consultations over regional issues of mutual concern. The third batch of the 7th aid convoy entered Gaza Strip as part of a series of aid humanitarian initiative that launched by Egyptian Red Crescent on the 27th of July, entitled Zad al-Izza, from Egypt to Gaza. The trucks carry out tons of food aid and different humanitarian aid of flour, rice, sugar, and other food commodities, in addition to medical and sanitary equipment. Moving on to the development on earth in Palestine, 34 Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire since this dawn in separate areas in the Gaza Strip, including 17 aid seekers. 7 were martyrs in Israeli airstrikes on areas in Shuja'iyya neighborhood, eastern of Gaza City, while 3 others were killed in Israeli bombardment in Deir al-Bala in central Gaza Strip. Earlier, Gaza Civil Defense Agency said that 5 more Palestinian civilians died of starvation and malnutrition in Gaza over the past 24 hours. And the new death raised the toll of those dying from an unfolding famine to 180, including 93 children since the war began. More than a dozen U.S. House Democrats have signed a letter pressing U.S. President Donald Trump's administration to recognize Palestine state. Access reported the news on Monday. It added that at least one lawmaker was planning to introduce a pro-statehood resolution. Families of at least 218 people who were killed in Beirut port last blast marked 5 years of grief on Monday. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun vowed that justice is coming. The blast on the 4th of August 2020 devastated swaths of the Lebanese capital and injured over than 6,500. The explosion was triggered by a fire in a warehouse where tons of ammunition and nitrate fertilizers have been stored over there for a year after arriving by ship. Business news and domestically, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli today shared a meeting with Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development Kamil al-Wazir and a number of ministers. The meeting followed up updates of a mechanism on adjusting the limit of carbon used in different industries, which was ratified by the end of the past year to enhance the exports of carbon and competitiveness. The Prime Minister was also briefed on a set of procedure taken to stop or to slow the carbon in the industrial sector, in addition to some incentive measures issued to pertain and maintain to the use of renewable energy resources. Egypt's Bourse closed higher today amid purchases by local investors and corporations against sell-offs of Arab and foreign investors and corporations. The benchmark index EGX 30 rose to 1.3% above the 4,700 point mark. The equal weighted indices EGX 70 and EGX 100 climbed between 0.7% and 0.8% respectively. To the amazing world of sport, as reigning Premier League champions Liverpool will host Atletico Bilbao in 2 friendly games at Anfield today to close out their pre-season. The Reds are now playing against their La Liga rivals, and they will clash back-to-back in another friendly encounter at 7 p.m. Arena side have been in Asia for the majority of the pre-season ahead of the Shield against the Crystal Palace on Sunday. Bilbao finished 4th in La Liga last season. And well, by this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our news bulletin for now. Many thanks for watching, and from myself, Hanan El Khouli.